What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video where today, as you can probably tell from the title, we're going to be going over the entire sound system that I have in my Subaru WRX. And that all starts with the head unit. So it's a little dirty because it is touchscreen, but it's this brand, a Toto, and I believe it's the FEX7 or something. I'll have all the links down in the description, so if you guys are interested in anything in this video, you can just go down there and see what they are. You can change the logo, so I changed mine to the Subaru logo, so whenever your car starts up, you can put your logo on there. And from this main screen, you can select either Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, so whatever device you have. So in my case, I have an iPhone. Now normally it just boots up to the main screen. So in my case, I have an iPhone, so this is the screen that it puts me on, and obviously you have all your apps on here. It's not super laggy or anything like that. I mean, I think it works pretty well navigating through different menus here, but this is the brains, and then from here we can go over the different speakers and the subwoofer I have in this car. But this is probably one of my favorite modifications that I've done. I used to have just a Bluetooth head unit, and I put my phone up here if I ever have to do like Google Maps or anything like that. But ever since installing this, you got your Google Maps on there, got your music on here, it just automatically Bluetooths to your phone or Wi-Fi, whatever Apple CarPlay uses. But yeah, I'd say this is one of my favorite things that I've done to my car, because it's just like a small quality of life upgrade that just really improves the driving experience of your car, or whenever you're having to do just anything in your car. Okay, so now to get to our speakers, I'm gonna pop this door off and I'll show you what we have behind it. And the back doors actually have a different speaker, but for the sake of just showing how I did the install, I'll just pop off one of the doors, but I can link the two different speakers down, because you can only fit a certain size speaker in this one and a certain size speaker in the back. So I chose what the two biggest were. I believe this was a 12-inch and the back was a 10.5-inch. It's something like that, where this one's just slightly bigger, but you can't fit any bigger ones in the back because the window that's back there isn't going to be able to roll down the whole way. So I do gotta say, it is a lot more fun working on older cars, because you literally can pop off this door piece in like 30 seconds. There's literally just two screws and it just pops right off in like 30 seconds. So I do have a video where I showed exactly how I put these in, but today's just kind of like doing an overview of everything that I have installed to it. So I'll link those videos too if you guys are interested in how I installed them. So these Kenwood ones didn't exactly line up, but they still work well. This top screw went in, and then in the bottom I just had to make my own screw hole for it, but it's in there pretty good, so I'm not worried about anything bad happening with that. It's really simple to install. There's just these three different screws that you have to take out to pull the speaker out, and then this new one just sounds so much better. But I don't think after like YouTube compresses the video and stuff, it's really going to translate. So for a car like my older WRX, it really just makes sense to upgrade them, because the door comes off in literally like 30 seconds and you can just pop them in real quick. It isn't that bad of an install at all. And I really am a big fan of these Kenwood speakers that I got. And as you can see, they were a little bit bigger. And I didn't go into this knowing that I had to make a little bit of a modification, like screwing them in that way to make them fit. But I wanted bigger speakers, so I guess that was the risk I had to take. But it worked out for me. And then in the back, I had to make modifications too, but then it's the same exact thing where you can just drill it into the door and it'll be fine. So now let's talk about one of my other favorite things that we have here, and that is this sub box, and I'll spin it around. So these are my two 12-inch subs that I run in the trunk, and honestly, if I had to do it again, I would probably just get a single, because I honestly think that these are way too big and they take up a lot of trunk space. I'm hoping that in the future I can just build a new box where each one kind of tucks into these side wells, so that way I get more space from the trunk back. But it's definitely overkill. I only have them on like 30 or 40% power whenever I'm using them. But these also came with this amp that we have back here. Just your standard amp. You have to get a ground power speaker wire that all runs up to that head unit. And it also comes with a tuner that you can use to adjust the bass, but with the head unit that I have, you can just do it all on there. So I just leave this turned up the whole entire way. Then on the head unit, I can turn it up or down however I would like. So yeah, for sure would think these are overkill, because I don't even use them on max power. I think they are 1200, whatever the measurement is that they're measured in. So definitely way too overkill, but I still like them. I also remember getting some questions before about why I face the actual subwoofer towards the back of the car, and that is just because I had read somewhere that if you're like an SUV where like the trunk and the driver's seat, like all of it's connected together, it's better to face them towards the back, because of the way that it like bounces off the trunk and back to you sounds better than if it's facing you. But in a car like this where the trunk is separated from the actual inside of the car, from what I read, it's better to face the subwoofer towards you, so that way it like hits the back of the seat, I'm guessing. I know I got some comments about that. That's just the reason why I face them towards. That could honestly be wrong. It was just something that I read on like a forum somewhere. But that's why I do that. And then the way that this is all ran for my car, I can take all the wires that attach to our head unit over there, and they can go behind the steering wheel and then tucked underneath this piece of plastic. Up underneath here, you can pull this plastic out, and then you can run it all the way underneath this plastic trim too. I will pull this up, but sometimes it can be a pain to put back in. But all the wires just run right underneath here, and it's an easy way for it to be able to access the back of the car. And then once we come to the back of the car here, Subaru was thinking real nice to where it just follows here and then also goes underneath this piece of plastic. And all it takes is there's 2 bolts, one here and then one there, and this whole bottom seat detaches, so all the wires can just run right underneath there and then up underneath this. Back in here, you might be able to see some wires sticking out. And that's how they are all ran to the amp. So, you know, a lot of tucking of wires, a lot of work went into it. For like a week, I had to just run the wires out in the open because I was still figuring out how I was going to tuck them, and, you know, gotta go to work, gotta do a bunch of different things. And that obviously wasn't the best solution, but I found that you could tuck it underneath those plastic trim pieces, so that way it's out of the way and then also underneath the seat, and it makes it a lot less noticeable that there's a whole sound system in the car. And also Subaru was using their noggins for this. So the sub obviously needs power, and if we look up here, we can see that there's a hole in the firewall, and that is where the power cable can come from the battery back to the amplifier. So I mean, Subaru set me up real nice with all this, having all these plastic trim pieces to easily just run it through, and everything just works kind of perfectly. I was having some problems with the sub before though, because the wires were coming loose, but I think that was just the fault of me not running the wires correctly, because I went back, tightened all the wires, made sure that they weren't like tugging, and sometimes like the amplifier would go flying in the trunk because it wasn't exactly bolted down. And even now it's not bolted down, but it's at least in a better position where if you go like brake hard or give it gas or go around a corner really fast, like it's not going to go flying everywhere and everything's going to come loose. So yeah, if there's anything that you should probably take away from this, I would honestly recommend the head unit over anything. This was actually the first thing that I did install whenever I got this car, because there was just a single dim Bluetooth head unit and then like a little pocket you put like sunglasses in or whatever. But this thing has been a life changer. Going on long road trips, it's easy to just have your maps on there. You can easily change your music, because I don't like touching my phone whenever I'm driving, so this makes it easier to navigate things. This car also is supposed to have a sub underneath this driver's seat. I think the previous owner took it out because maybe it blew or something. So I had no bass in this car, so I wanted the new subwoofer in the back. And the speakers were starting to get a little crackly, so those kind of needed replaced. But even after all that, I would still say, if you take away anything from this video, the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto head unit can be like a life changer for these older cars, because, you know, this car didn't come with Bluetooth, it didn't come with any kind of cell phone, you know, connectivity. But yeah, there's not really that much that goes into this car for the upgraded sound system. They make it really easy on this car to install everything, which is super nice, but I would say that it was worth it. Speakers really weren't that expensive, and neither was the head unit. I was a little bit skeptical because the price was kind of low. So I thought the screen was going to be lagging, it just wasn't going to work very well, but it actually surprisingly works very good for like the past 2 years I think I've had it now. And who can't like subs, you know, shake the whole car, you know, get some bass going. So I would honestly say that if I had to, I would buy everything again. But again, the Apple CarPlay Android Auto head unit really does make a world of difference. But with all that being said, that's all that I got for you guys in today's video. Just a quick little overview of the whole sound system install that I have on this car. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe if you learned something or enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.